Home. It's where you're supposed to feel the safest. But what happens when your home is turned into a house of horrors? Stranger in the House is a true crime podcast that investigates stories of home invasions, murderous spouses, and all manner of heinous acts committed in the one place you should feel safest. We look at crimes that will make you want to lock your doors and pay close attention to the ones you live with. It will make you ask the questions, what is a stranger? And is there one in my house right now? Listen to Stranger in the House on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Google Podcasts now. New episodes every Thursday.
Hi, and welcome to The Watts Family Murders, Unraveling the Tragedy. My name is Jay from Jay is for Justice podcast, and I am your host of the audio-only podcast On Air with Jay is for Justice. Welcome to On Air with Jay is for Justice, where we delve into the most perplexing cases in recent history. Today, we are diving into the chilling story of Chris Watts, a man whose outwardly picture-perfect life hid a dark and sinister reality. Hello, listeners. I am your host, Jay, and in this episode, we'll be exploring the timeline of events leading up to that shocking tragedy that shook the nation. In our last episode, we left off with Nichol Kessinger's creepy Google searches before she was even supposed to know the Watts family. We're picking up in February of 2018 when Shanan posts pictures of their fifth lifestyle getaway trip to Las Vegas. The images depict a blissful couple enjoying the sights and sounds of Sin City, further perpetuating the image of a loving and united marriage. In April of 2018, Shanan is featured in Strive magazine, a publication promoting the Thrive brand. The article portrays Shanan as a successful promoter, adding to the facade of a happy and thriving family. A placement in Strive magazine became Shanan's coveted prize, symbolizing her next level of success. Amid the spirited atmosphere of Thrive rallies, Thrive magazine was hailed as a publication poised for global recognition. Shanan found herself amidst the fervor of a Laval event, where the prospect of appearing in a future issue of Thrive magazine alongside Chris Watts was discussed. Shanan shared a photo of a magazine mock-up during her trip, expressing anticipation for its forthcoming release. The crowd was informed that they could influence their inclusion in the magazine, with the challenging task of selecting only 13 promoters annually from a pool of 600,000. The significance of being featured in the magazine was underscored, drawing parallels to notable figures like Bo Jackson. Shanan and Chris Watts would later find themselves gracing the pages of Strive magazine, fulfilling Shanan's year-long aspiration. However, it's ironic that while Shanan's article was removed from the magazine's online platform, her Upline's article remained, a bitter contrast to her initial pride. Moreover, the tragedy surrounding Shanan's life propelled her magazine feature to international attention. Shanan proudly displayed the framed magazine photo in her office, only for it later to serve as a backdrop in crime scene photos. On April 30th, 2018, Shannon accomplished her goal during the Thrive-A-Palooza event in New Orleans. She took the stage to accept that framed issue of Strive, featuring her family, presented by Laval's CEO, amidst a backdrop of white roses symbolizing her achievement. During the same event, Shannon shared moments on Facebook where Chris Watts was notably absent. This absence foreshadowed later events, possibly indicating his involvement with someone else, like Nikki. Just a couple of months later, in June, Chris Watts formally meets Nichol Kessinger, a colleague at their workplace. Despite being married with 2 daughters, Chris presents himself to Nichol as a man on the brink of divorce, conveniently omitting the truth of his ongoing marriage. However, beneath the surface, cracks begin to appear. Chris Watts' mistress, Nichol Lee Kessinger.
Getting to know Chris, how you guys met, where you met, all those things. Let's just run. And I'm not going to ask you specific questions unless I think it's necessary. I'll let you just tell me your story. I think it's a little bit easier that way. So I just want to know how you met him, where you met him, how long you guys were dating, and those kind of things initially.
Okay. I think I met him sometime in June, probably early June. It might have been May. It was just talking at work. It was pretty casual. And he didn't have a wedding ring on his finger. And every time I talked to him, he didn't tell me that he was in a relationship. He didn't even mention his kids right away either. And then one day he told me that he had 2 kids. I was like, that's pretty cool. And started telling me about his kids.
That sounded like a sarcastic comment.
No, I thought it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, he's a dad. It was like right around Father's Day too. So whenever that is in June.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm not good with holidays.
He told me he had kids, and then it was Father's Day shortly after
Okay.
that. So that's what I do now. And I was like, I thought it was cute. And then he's telling me about him. He's pretty excited about him. And then he mentioned that he did have a significant other. And then he told me that those 2 were in the process of a separation.
Did he mention the children's name or his significant other's name?
I didn't know his significant other's name for a while. And then I think he told me his kids' names pretty quick, but to be honest with you, on an exact date of when that happened, I don't know.
So in May and June, first of all, where do you work?
I work at Anadarko Petroleum Corporation. I'm contracted to Anadarko Petroleum Corporation.
Okay, and you work out of an office setting where?
In Platteville, Colorado.
Okay. And Chris also works out of that location, per
Yes.
se?
Yes. He's in the field, but he comes into the office with his team.
So you work, what is your job responsibility?
I do health, safety, and environment.
Okay, so you work in the office and you take care of health safety for, Anadarko is an oil and gas company, right?
Yes.
So you're doing health safety in the office and Chris works in the field
Yes.
as a, what kind of job does he do?
He's an operator, so I don't know like all of his daily duties, but he's a field operator, so he works with like the oil wells.
So he goes out and does work on those, whatever
Yes.
that work might be. But he comes into the office frequent.
In the mornings, his team meets in the mornings. They're not all in there every day. Some days, some of them are in there. Some days, other ones are in there. But in the mornings, typically, from like 6:15 to probably 7, somewhere around there.
And is that where you met Chris?
Yes.
Okay. So can you just take us through kind of a little bit of the early part of how he courted you or you courted him? I don't know which one happened. How you guys got to know each other?
I guess we just started talking. He actually, so part of my job is to manage the gas monitors that we have. So Anadarko requires all of their field personnel to carry like gas monitor sensors for toxic gases, and it is my job to control the inventory, any issues, anything like that. And we were having some pretty serious like equipment issues, and we had numerous amounts of people coming in my office one day, and he happened to be one of them. And I'd seen him before, like they meet in the lunchroom, and that's where I go put my lunch in the fridge. So I'd seen him, but I didn't ever like talk to him. So that day we just started talking, and then every time I saw him in the hallway after that, and it was always hit or miss, like it wasn't an everyday thing, it was just when I saw him, we just started talking, and we just kind of had a lot in common and just hit it off, so we'd always have, pretty good conversations, and then, I don't know, one day he told me that he had kids and started talking about his kids, and then mentioned, yes, that I have a wife, but we're getting separated. I said, okay. And then,
when do you think that was?
When he said all that?
So specifically when he told you he was getting separated from his wife, was that within the first couple of weeks that you knew him, or was that later on? You said you met him around May or June. Yeah,
it was still in June.
Okay.
It would have been before Father's Day.
So had you guys ever gone out on any kind of date at that time? You just
No.
Conversing at work?
Yeah, that's all it was. And then, I don't know, we started hanging out. We hung out. We went to a park. Hung out at a park.
Let's go back real quick. So why did he tell you that he was getting a divorce? Did he ask you out at that time?
No, he didn't. I think he was probably interested in me. And so he talked to me a couple times via his work phone, and I was like, no. Like, it was still very, like, friendly conversation. But then when I realized, like, this man is interested in me, I'm interested in him, this is personal, so we got away from the Anadarko thing because I really don't want those guys affiliated with any of this. And
so you have a work phone that's specifically...
No, I have one phone that I do both on. He has two phones.
Okay, so he had your phone, the 720-656.
That's the only number that I roll with all the time.
Okay.
So he has two phones.
All right. One of those owned by Anadarko
yes,
and one
sir.
Personal.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what his Anadarko phone number was? Okay.
It's been so long, and I'm sure I could look it up, but I tried to look it up for those guys yesterday, and I couldn't find it.
Okay. We can find it. That's okay. Just wondering if you knew it.
But at that point, we just took it to his phone because I just felt it was better that way. And we just continued to talk, and then
let me go back to the park. Where's the park?
It's down the street from my house. It's called East Lake Number 3.
Your house?
Yes.
In Northglenn?
Yes.
And that was in the June time frame?
Or the beginning of July. It was right around my birthday. It's so sometime at the very end of June or the beginning of July.
Okay. And that's the first meeting you had outside of work?
Yeah.
Basic conversation for a first date?
We kept it pretty simple, I guess, I don't even remember everything we talked about. We
Sure.
were there for a few hours. But
Understand so if I ask about conversation, what I'm looking for, was he talking about his family during any of these meetings? Those are the kind of, I understand, whatever you guys were talking about, relationship, your life, your interests, those things, we don't need to know that. What I'm interested in is knowing is when he brings up his children, when he brings up his wife, when he brings up financial information, when he brings up his home, when he brings up anything that may have been, and it's been a few days, so you've had a chance to reflect on some articles that you may have read, and unfortunately, that you're in a situation where somebody has been murdered. And that information, when you look backwards in your memory with the conversations with Chris, anything that he might have said that would be relative to that, and I'm not just, even if one day he was mad and he said, I want to do this or do that, anything like that, if he ever made any kind of statements that you were like, whoa, that was weird, or why would he say that, or why did he mention that? Do you understand what I'm
No,
looking for?
I completely understand. I just feel like some of this happened so long ago that I can't tell you the exact words of the exact conversation at the exact time and place, because it's we had a lot of conversations. We talked every single day. So it's
so if there's
I'm trying to help you guys with the stuff The stuff that's more current, I can give you guys a lot more like detail and exact times. But when you're asking me about something that happened 6 weeks ago and exactly what was said, it's like, I mean, I'm sure I can give you a general idea, but to be honest with you, like to pinpoint exact words, it's not going to happen.
I'm not looking for exact words. Just more, let's say 6 weeks ago he said something that triggered with you last night. That's what I'd be looking for. Or something 4 weeks ago. And if you don't remember where it was or the specific words, that doesn't matter. Just he said something that was off the wall, or he said this or he said that, that has caused you a moment to pause and you go, wow, I wonder why he said that. Now knowing what you know today. Do you understand where I'm going with that?
I completely understand. And to be honest with you, I mean, there were several discussions that we had about his current relationship and where it had gone and what it had caused. And he talked about his kids from time to time, but the thing is he was never hostile. It was never anything aggressive. Like even when he spoke of his wife and the fact that they were separating, it was never like ill. It was still very kind. It was just like, this is not working, and would explain why, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary or anything that I think would scare me. And to this day, even after everything that I found out, I still look back at that and I don't see any red lights with the way that he spoke of his family.
Can you just describe his overall demeanor over the 8, 10, 12 weeks that you guys knew each other?
It wasn't that long. It was like 6 weeks that we were hanging out. Well, I guess we knew each other longer.
Okay, but you met him in the office, and just his overall persona, who was he aggressive? Was he mellow? Was he calm? Was he outspoken? Who was Chris?
I think he's an introvert. I would consider him to be like a pretty, I don't want to say he's a very reserved individual. I think he's probably more reserved around other people. I think he emphasized to me that one of the reasons that he really enjoyed talking to me is because if he felt like he could get out of his shell. He said around most people he just like didn't really feel the need to like talk and converse, and it wasn't just in his home life, just in general. It wasn't something where he's an introvert. And he said with me, it made him feel like he could really just start talking about things that excited him, and I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that we had things in common. So with me, I think he was a little bit more outgoing, but even then, I would still consider him to be an introvert. I mean, not on the extreme end. If an introvert went to like 1 to 10, I'd put him at like a 4 or 5. So on the lighter side of introversion.
Pretty even-keeled.
Yes, like really relaxed, like all the time. He was never really like worked up about anything. Just
mellow,
chilled,
easygoing guy.
Very much.
Okay. And he was that way with you. Did he ever have any kind of? Did you guys ever have arguments? I mean,
no.
Pretty short relationship. No arguments during that time.
No.
Did he ever lose his temper at any time?
Never.
You guys never had a yelling match?
No.
So you never saw him upset or mad?
No. And there was a couple times that we had some disagreements on things that as we like further progress into this story, but it was never like, I am very calm when I talk to people. It's like extremely rational when I handle situations that there's a disagreement in, and he always was the exact same way. Like always. Like I never stressed anything. I think one thing that actually kind of drew me to him was the fact that he was like very open with communicating with me if there were any like differences on how we saw things or just like open-minded about things. It was actually, I personally thought it was kind of unique because usually most of the men that I've ever met are typically very closed off, and I didn't get that from him at all. But it was always like kind, very kind.
So no sense that this guy had a temper or
not at all.
Was aggressive, or he never lost his mind and yelled and said crazy stuff or anything like that? Okay.
No.
So can we just kind of go back to your relationship? You say you guys had a lot in common. What was that?
Oh, I mean, like, we were both really into fitness. I think that's important. It's a lifestyle. Both of us ate pretty healthy, so I think that was important as well. He's like a total...
On June 10th, Shanan excitedly announces her third pregnancy, perhaps hoping to mend any fractures in the relationship with the arrival of a new addition. to the family.
We did it again. I like that shirt. Really?
Really.
That's awesome. So pink means...
That's just the test.
I know. It just says the pink is going to be girls.
I don't know. Just the test.
That's awesome.
After the uneventful announcement to Chris, there's no lack of excitement from Bella and CeCe about the upcoming bundle of joy.
Guess what, girls? Mommy has a baby in her belly. Are you guys excited? Yes. Yes? Are you really excited? Oh my goodness. Come give me a hug. Oh. I love you, girl.
I got the baby a hug.
You want to give the baby a hug? I love you, Bella. You're so sweet. Give me a kiss.
Mommy.
Yes, hey, Bella, how many babies do I have in my belly?
5.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's a lot of babies. You better grow up really quickly. 'Cause I need help.
It's already tough. It's already tough.
You didn't kiss the baby?
No.
Do you kiss the baby in the morning and at night? Before
I'm
bed?
kissing it right now.
You're so funny.
Well, I'm going to kiss it in your bed, my bed, and your bed.
Want I tuck you in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll sleep in your bed.
Oh, I know. But you sleep in your bed like a big
I
girl.
want to sleep in your bed.
5 days after the pregnancy announcement, on June 15th, Shanan took to Facebook to share her observations about Chris's increased sociability with strangers ever since he began his journey with Thrive. This post was meant to highlight the positive impact of Thrive on Chris's confidence and communication skills. In that post from June 15th, 2018 at 6:27 p.m. says Chris just said he's been more talkative since he started #burn, talking to random strangers. He's an introvert. Through her words, Shanan invites others to consider similar paths towards self-improvement and engagement. Shanan inspired a ripple effect of positivity and connection within their social circles and beyond. On the 22nd of June in 2018, Shanan shared snapshots capturing the essence of their lifestyle getaway number 6 in San Diego. Notably, Shanann's father graciously flew to Colorado to care for the girls, allowing Shanan and Chris the opportunity to embark on this exciting journey together. Chris Watt's close friend Mark Jameson is a military serviceman who resided in San Diego during the time of the Watts trip. Now, let's delve into Mark's interview with the detectives.
Hello?
I can speak to Mark, please.
This is him.
Hi, Mark. My name is Matt Sailem, an agent with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, sir. How about yourself?
Doing good, thanks. Hey, the reason I'm calling is we're doing some follow-up on the Watts case, and it's my understanding that you are a friend of theirs. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Would you have a couple minutes to speak to me about it?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, let me just get some identifying information from you.
Okay.
What is your last name?
My last name is Jamieson.
How do you spell it?
Jamieson.
Okay. And date of birth for you? Is this the best phone number to get a hold of you?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And how about an address for you? Okay. So how did you know Shanan and Chris?
Me and Chris have been best friends for almost 25, 30 years. So I've been in and out of their lives quite a bit over the years. I've met Shannon on multiple occasions. I've met their daughters multiple occasions, and me and Chris would stay in contact via phone call or a text message, or if we would go see each other.
Okay. So were you friends with Chris before he met Shanan?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess for 25 years you would be, huh?
Yeah.
You guys grew up together then?
We did.
Okay. So did you live in North Carolina then?
Yes.
Okay. What took you out?
I believe when, I'm in the Navy, so I got stationed out here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. When's the last time you talked to Chris?
I talked to him, I think it was Tuesday before that Wednesday he had confessed. And it was just through a text message.
Okay.
But that was the last time I had contacted him.
Did you initiate that, or did he?
I initiated it.
Okay. And was there like a back and forth conversation, or how did that go?
No, it was just me basically saying, I hope he's okay, I hope the family's okay, that I knew he was busy and he's probably got a lot going on, and that if he needed to speak to me or if he needed anyone to talk to, he could let me know. And then he just reached back and said, thanks, man, and yeah, he's been busy.
All right.
And that was it.
Okay. So before that, when's the last time you had a conversation with him?
Before that, right off the top of my head, it was also a text message, and it was about, I want to say, a week and a half before this incident happened. Again, it was just through text message. And I was basically telling him, like, hey, man, reach out to me, like, talk to me. And he would text me back, but he never called me, and we never saw each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that unusual?
No, I just knew he was busy. I just knew he had a lot of things going on. Just because the things that were going on with the family at the time, I could tell, like, he was busy. And I knew. I didn't press him. I didn't put any pressure on him. I just letting him know I'm here to talk if you need to talk. And,
okay.
Yeah. And he said he would. He just didn't reach out.
Okay. And just for my clarification, this is the text message before they went missing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what kind of family things were going on?
I just knew that Shanan and his mom, Cindy, were fighting again, because Cindy had called me and told me that they had started fighting again. And I kind of was a little upset with Chris, because I text Chris and just let him know, like, hey, man, this has got to stop. Like, I'm tired of hearing this. And he reached back to me and said he understood, he knew what was going on, and he kind of clued me in on him and Shannon are going to separate and get a divorce. And that's when I told him, like, well, I'm here if you need to talk, man. And he said he would reach out to me some more, but he never really did after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were Shannon and Cindy fighting about?
She said that, and this is coming from Cindy, that CeCe had a food allergy to chocolate, and I guess CeCe ate a whole bowl of Hershey Kisses, and Shanan came into the living room and was just yelling at Cindy and, telling her she's trying to kill her baby or something like that because of the food allergy. And Cindy had no idea, and she claimed she had no idea about it. And they had this huge argument, and she ended up kicking Shanan out of the house, telling her to leave. And then shortly after that, Cindy called me crying and afraid because she was afraid she had just lost Chris, that, Shanan was going to, turn Chris against her, like what has happened in the past. And
Okay.
so she had called me crying and just letting me know, and that's when I just text Chris, like, hey, man, like, what's going on, dude? And yeah.
Okay. You said that in the past, Shanann's turned Chris against Cindy. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so right around the time when they were engaged, I believe, Chris and Shanan were engaged, this huge fight between Cindy, Jamie, and Shanan was taking place, and they all felt like Shanan was trying to turn Chris against the family, and for a little bit there, Chris was on Shanan's side, not really defending his family. But I guess over the course of a year or two, they ended up patching things up, and they finally made amends, and they had back to a talking relationship again. And then this happened, and so it was like we were basically going back to square one.
Gotcha. And so, could you tell was Chris taking Shanann's side again in the fight about the food allergy thing?
Yeah. So Cindy did say that Chris initially was on Shanann's side, like he was upset with his family, but then out of nowhere, Cindy did text me or call me again and say that Chris has decided to separate from Shanan.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, like, it was Chris, he was even telling me during the text messages that he had seen the true side of Shanan and that he is done. He doesn't want to be with her anymore. And so we were like, okay. And so I was like, hey, man, I'm here if you want to talk. I understand this is going to be a big process, so just let me know, man. And he said he would, but he never reached out.
Okay. Do you know what he meant by that when he said he saw the true side of Shanan?
I didn't ask because I didn't feel like it was my position to dig, but I had assumed that he had seen, because for years his family has always assumed that Shanan has been pretty shady, and I never really saw it, but they all had reason to believe that she was very, very, there was something about her, and Chris said he had finally seen whatever his family had seen. He had finally seen that side of her, and yeah.
Do you know what it was that the family was seeing in her?
She was just, this is what they were telling me, is that she was very shady. She had a dark past, like, I don't know, like sleeping with her old boss, and even while she was seeing Chris, and money issues with her boss. She was just very conniving, and that was what they were telling me. Now, when I saw Shanan, I didn't see any of that. Like, she was always very pleasant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you never had any issues with Shanan?
No, I mean, I never saw that side. I didn't really trust her just because of a lot of things that were being said.
Right.
Yeah, but I never actually physically saw anything.
Okay. Sorry, my pen just died. I had to find another one. So he never really gave specifics about what he saw or the reason he was wanting to separate?
He did not. I was basically letting him know about the conversation that I had with his mother, just cluing him in on what his mom was saying about Shanan, and he was not really confirming it, but confirming it that, yeah, I've seen that part of Shanan, but he never said exactly what he saw. He just said, I've seen that side of her, I've seen the true side of her, and I'm done.
Okay.
I was like, okay.
In your conversations with Chris recently, have you noticed any change in him?
No, just in his eyes, I could tell he looked stressed. He looked wore out. But he's always been Chris. He's never been anything but that. Like, no signs of a dark side to him or anything. Chris has always been a nice guy. Always been a good guy. He's been a great friend.
Okay.
Even when I saw them in San Diego, Chris was still still Chris. Like, he was your average, typical Chris.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
That was, I believe that was in June. Or, no, not June, excuse me, July. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they came down for a trip, for a company trip. And
Oh, okay.
they only stayed for like a weekend, but I went down to see them one day.
Okay. Are you pretty close to San Diego?
I am.
Okay. I've never heard 29
About,
Palms.
it's in the middle of the desert and it sucks, but
Oh, really?
I'm about 3 hours. Yeah, I'm about 3 hours from San Diego.
Oh, okay. So you're in the Navy in the middle of a desert?
Yeah, I'm a Navy corpsman, so we're stationed with the Marine Corps.
Oh, okay.
Anytime we do their medical, so we have to. We do their medical for them. But so anytime the Marines, wherever the Marines go, we go.
Gotcha.
And they give me orders out here to the other.
Okay. So what was your opinion of Shanan then?
Initially, I liked her. I remember when Chris first met her, he was so excited about it, and I was excited for him. But over the years, like I said, the family had really, Chris's family had really had an issue with her, and she had an equal issue with his family, and it's just kind of, I started to get the uneasy feeling that they were getting. But again, like, I never really saw anything that they were seeing, because I think they were more close to her than I was. I was just Chris's friend, and they're the family. They're on that constant form of contact. But for me, every time I was there, I went to their house, or they would come see me, or we would text or talk. Like, they were always good. They always seemed fine. And Shanan never really exhibited anything that they were claiming, but there was always, after a while, there was that uneasy feeling about her. Like, something has to be there if everyone's got such a problem with it.
Okay. But you never saw anything yourself?
But I never actually saw it.
Okay. Did Chris ever tell you about any of those things that he also saw in her that her family was talking about?
He did not.
Okay.
And again, I didn't press, because I didn't want to, dig into his personal life.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously you liked Chris because you were friends with him for 25 years, but what can you tell me about him?
Chris, he has always been a quiet guy. He only opens up to the people that he's comfortable with. He's the type of guy that would do anything for you. He'd bend over backwards for you, and he's been there for me multiple times when I went through issues with relationships or whatever. Like, Chris he's been a brother to me, big time, and I still love him as a brother. Like, this all comes as a shock, but still, like, Chris is a good guy, and the way the media is painting him out to be, that's not Chris at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And he loved his daughters very, very much.
Did you ever know him to have a temper?
I have never seen a mean side to Chris ever.
Okay.
He's much like his mother. His mother's very kind-hearted and sweethearted, and Chris is relatively the same way.
So obviously he would come to you and talk to you when he was having issues in his life. What other ways did he have, that to deal with conflict or issues in his life?
For these past couple years, him and I haven't really talked much. I would say like the past 3 or 4 years. But if he was truly going through something serious, he definitely would have reached out to me. But I know he also had support wherever he was in Colorado. There was also his friend base that he had in Colorado that I'm sure he probably reached out to them more than he did with me. But but ultimately his whole, to my understanding, his whole routine was basically just go to work and take care of the girls.
Okay. Do you know who his friends are here in Colorado?
I do not.
Okay.
I've never met any of them.
Okay. How about any other friends of his that you know of that we could talk to?
Off the top of my head, I honestly don't know.
Okay.
because I think a lot of the people he knew, Shanan had known.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said that a lot of the people that Chris knew, Shanan knew. They were Shanan's friends.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else that you think we should know about either Chris or Shanan or their relationship or the girls or anything else?
Not that I can think of.
Any questions that I haven't asked that you think we should be asking, or anybody else that you think we should be talking to?
I'm sure you guys have already reached out to his family or his sister. And
Yeah, we're in.
Okay. Then I think that would pretty much cover it, unless you guys could track down whoever his friends were in Colorado.
Okay.
Like the friends of their families.
Right.
I don't know who they were friends with, but.
Okay. All right. Well, if you got like a pen and paper, I'll give you my contact information in case something comes to mind.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Matt Sailor, Sailor.
Okay.
Just like the Navy.
Yeah, right on.
And I'm an agent with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, CBI.
Do you have a phone number or anything?
Yep, 303
303
239 4206.
206. Okay.
So if any other information comes to mind, something you think we should know, something you forgot about, or other people you think we should be talking about, feel free to reach out to me and give me a call. We'd like to have as much information as possible, so anybody that we can talk to would be good.
Absolutely. I do have a question for you, and without you, I guess, divulging anything that you can't, am I expected to be appearing in court or anything, just because I have to let my chain of command know that they're already tracking about this issue, and I just have to let them know if I'm going to be making an appearance?
I wouldn't anticipate that. Obviously, those decisions are made by the district attorney, but and I can't say what evidence they're going to use, what witnesses they're going to use, but it's not like you have any. It's all important information, but it's not,
Yeah, like, is it going to make them innocent? Is it going to make them guilty?
So, you'll go into my report as a witness just because I talked to you, but I wouldn't anticipate you having to be called for trial.
Okay.
But I can't rule it out, obviously, so.
Right.
Any other questions I can answer or try to?
That's it.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your time. Appreciate you talking to me today.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Yeah. All right. You too.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Chris and Shanan arrived back at Denver International Airport on June 26, 2018. This is documented by a Facebook post of Shanan's that reads, "Just landed in Denver. Going home to take nap, pack for 6 weeks, and be back here in 12 hours. Hashtag, I got this." As we wind down this episode and prepare for the next, this is the point in time where Shanan leaves for 6 weeks to travel to North Carolina to visit family. In our next episode, we're going to dive into those first few weeks after Shanan was gone in great detail. The stark contrast of what Chris, Shanan, and Nichol Kessinger were doing in that time frame is not only completely heartbreaking for Shanan, but it brings one to wonder what seemingly normal people are actually capable of. Thank you for listening, and make sure to check out On Air with Jay is for Justice podcast on Apple, Spotify, and any podcast player.